throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dear James Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights. I am your host, Dear James, and I am joined by my lovely, incredibly fabulous co-host, the Lady Jaclyn. And you may have just seen Mercury retrograde in action because, as at the top of the hour, the Lady Jaclyn and I were having troubles connecting her. It's like down to 5 seconds, and all of a sudden I realized my window's open and the traffic's you're gonna hear it. And I leapt over to shut the window and leapt back. We should just say here's the energy. Here's the energy, the current energies, right, Jaclyn? Like, here you are. We're done.
Yeah, this is in real life. This is what it looks like in real life.
In real time, real life, here we are. So, well, for everybody joining us, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from. And as Maria just did, please put in the comments that you're joining us so that we know you're there and where you're joining us from. And throughout the hour, we will be taking your calls live. So if you have specific questions or issues or wanting to have intuitive insights and human design, wisdom and guidance, please put it in the comments and we will take them throughout the broadcast. So, the Lady Jaclyn.
I love how you just slowed things down because that was beautiful and that's exactly what we need. I think at this time right now, it's interesting because literally, I mean, Dear James started to say, listen, this is the current energy in action, but I don't think you realize, so I know because it's Mercury retrograde, I log on and I make sure everything is on 30 minutes before the time. And literally, fate would have it, or Mercury playing games, 5 minutes before it started freezing and then it just kicked me out and I thought, okay, so I tried again 3 times later and now I literally, my computer, my laptop is frozen, so I'm literally logging on from my phone and my phone's battery was about to die, so my earphones couldn't even work. So the thing is, it's like, no matter what's so interesting as well, even though Mercury is playing, those beautifully like tricky energy, we still have the energy that reminds us that we have the resources available to us because we're live. No matter what, we're still coming to you guys live. We're still having the conversation. We're still able to connect with one another. It may not be the way we anticipate or the way we want to control it, like us human experience want to control everything, but we're still live. We're still able to show up. And that is really the energy that's also coming through. It's kind of reminding you, no matter what, the resources will always present itself. You always have what you need.
Yes.
Makes sense?
And to go with the flow, right? I mean, literally in this chaotic moment, this energy, and I mean, full moon, eclipse season, Mercury retrograde, there's all these universal energies going on that are affecting us. And it's literally about, you have everything you need. It's just, it's just a hot mess. Is kind of the way it's coming to me. It's like, it's just a hot mess. So roll with it. Go with it. It's all fine. It all works out. And we're just, we're tap dancing through this. We're really learning a new way of being is the way I'm hearing it. And so it is kind of like when they, we called it the curly shuffle, like a curly shuffle, and you're dancing or you're shuffling the deck. It's just a rattling and a reshaping of what we know. And so it's like, and it's here to stay. So it's this, okay, let's go. Here's the new energies. Here's how they're really forcing us. And this fits so well with today's overall energies because, Mercury retrograde, right, Jaclyn? And so we, put an RE in front of most things, reshaping, and here, for today, hexagram 18 is about decay. And when I first saw that, I was like, the tear emoji and the, like, I don't want, there was the personality going, oh no, I'm not up for decay. I'm just done. I don't have. And yet when we get into it, it's the beauty within it, because decay is about repairing what's spoiled so as to remedy, so as to renew, to advance. And so it makes perfect sense while we're in this, Mercury retrograde moment with all the eclipses and the overall energy, because that's based on the 18, which is today's date, May 18th, and they were really focusing on a 18, but the overall becomes a 2, and the 2 is again the receptive force. It's the Divine Mother. And so here it's saying we got to repair what's spoiled. The old ways are over, the old ways are out, so as to remedy, so as to renew and receive the receptive force. And that is coming through so strongly. The messages in the hexagram today are really powerful. They're personally resonating.
Absolutely. I also want to ask, for those of you that joined us last week, you would know, and I mean, if you've scrolled social, you would know that there was the full moon, the lunar eclipse. Did you feel the intensity of this energy? Because I literally, like, I know we say it, and we say there's going to be just the shift, and you're talking about it, it's kind of like one moment it was the next moment new. It's almost like instantaneous. And I can literally say that I literally have moments where I feel an instantaneous shift. It's like, just in the moment, everything just feels better, or it just resonates, or everything just kind of flows. Did you feel that?
Yes. It was, it's all about what you just articulated. It's all about that. And the going with the flow, and the whole, Maria just said about, staying present with the energy. We are one with the wave. And remember, they were talking about that, right, Jaclyn? A couple shows ago, they were like, it's that crescendo of the wave. And are you going to ride the wave in? Are you going to be with the energy, with the moment? Or is it going to pummel you and roll you up on, spit you out on the beach, trunks down around the ankles and all that good stuff? It's like, which one are you going to do? Because it's up to us. And this is that energy. It is really, it's both rich, like, it makes me smile. It's both rich and yet just worrisome, overwhelming, tiring. Right before the show, the Lady Jaclyn and I were like, we need a 10-week vacation. Like, somebody just put us over, cocoon us and wake us up when we're in the new. Like, put us over there, and we'll emerge all bright and shiny and happy little butterflies. So, I have to bring myself back together. So, thank you all for rolling with us today. This is really quite the energy, and so I'm laughing, Jaclyn, because I and Jennifer Stanley, she's talking about having the secretary at the dentist go kabonkers on her, and then she's, it's not about me, it's okay, everyone's losing it, and so who's up for a glass of rosé? And we have a funny saying about rosé all day, so I'm going to put it my vote in as yes please. So we're having some technical difficulties with the Lady Jaclyn's connection. There she is.
Okay, just let me know if I do lose a little bit, because I'm having a hard time hearing you. It's hilarious. But this is so true, because it's literally like rolling with what life has to offer. And you spoke true to the intensity. So everyone, if you're feeling the intensity at the moment, it is so true. Like, the energy is intense because it is literally getting us to move forward. But from a human design perspective, quickly, there is also this intensity to kind of connect with purpose. Like, have you noticed that? It's almost like this, you're questioning what purpose, am I purpose, am I on the right direction to fulfill my purpose as well? So very much of a push and a pull energy of like direction and purpose. Do you notice that?
Yes, it's again relooking, revisiting, reestablishing, and this goes to This literally what you just said goes to the heart of hexagram 18. And it's really quite powerful. I'm going to jump in with it because it's so on point to what you're speaking about, which is this this point and need, because it's about decay. And so, and what they were talking about too is reinvention. And they said, and reinvention, the definition of reinvention is the action or process through which something is changed so much that it appears to be entirely new. And we have been talking about the new, the new, the new. And here we are all going through this moment during a Mercury retrograde, an eclipse season. We just had the full moon. And they're saying in anticipation, in readiness for the Gemini new moon that comes up, I believe, on May 30th. And Gemini is the twins, and they are the twins. It's Castor and Pollux. That were immortalized as the twins. And it's also an air sign. It's ruled by an air sign. So we can see about how the thoughts, what we think, how we do things, how we communicate, all of these things, it's readying for that. And it talks about the hidden influence of decay, hexagram 18, is propriety, and it's to subordinate, meaning to follow, because its underlining cause is 17, following. And so there's a beautiful quote by Marcel Proust, and he says, the real voyage of discovery consists not in seeking new landscapes, but in having new eyes. And so here we are. It sums up this beautiful thing, Jaclyn, of it's not about, because it's that beautiful idiom about everywhere you go, there you are. And so it's not that the new is going to change us in a sense, or a new place, or a new job, or a new partner, the new is within. The new is how to see anew so as to be renewed. And so we can see this happening, and this is really, and it's going to play to our business, so our LinkedIn listeners and everybody. And we all work, we're all humans having our careers and our jobs and our companies and corporations and governments and so forth. We talk about this a lot. And this particular hexagram, it talks about how success in business is often measured in an S, like a curve. Initially, costs are no longer an issue. The line rises as profits grow. Later, competition flattens the line as market saturation offsets profits and the line recedes. If the business recognizes that innovation and responsiveness has to occur at every turn, perhaps the line would progress unimpeded. So here the thing is, we get going, we get busy, we kind of rest on our laurels, and we don't stay in tune with the flow, with the following, with the receptive force, with the receiving, so as to use the creative force for the action. The Aries, the Mars, this whole piece of that. And so it says that, when we do that, it would go unimpeded. And it said this is not usually the case. People wait until sales fall or something is broken before they take action. And I often say this about our world, people, governments, and everything. Reactionary as opposed to proactive. When we're proactive, we're in the flow with this, we're unimpeded. And then we wait for it to break. And then we have to go fix it. It's reactionary. Now we got to go do something. And so we do this in our personal lives too, and that is the message of decay. Mountain over wind suggests how the wind must change course as a remedy for forward advance, because the mountain of ideas has blocked progress and decay grows unchecked in this situation. So look at how 2,500 plus years of patriarchal rule, and we look at how the mountain of ideas blocks us from our advancement. It's like this immovable mountain or force. So the wind changes course. It goes above it, around it, whatever it must do to change the course. They're saying to change the course of time, to change the course so as to be in alignment with the way, the advance. The hidden influence of subordinate suggests recognizing how you are interdependent on others. No one's an island, right? It takes a village. All relationships thrive on win-win solutions. A business explores demand prior to manufacturing the product. You may need to put your personal goals aside and make a sacrifice based on the needs of another. And this is where we believe we're advancing, or, there may be a greater cause in the moment that you're fulfilling, that you're participating in, and then you advance. It's still part of your advancement because somewhere in the line, it will come back. It'll be in hindsight that we see the value and the validity of the current present moment. And lastly, it talks about where following as underlining cause suggests how one thing follows another naturally. In this situation, the old way needs to be overhauled if you are to be successful. Ego games and self-serving approaches to others will not work. This is the old. Following old routines can lead to shoddy work and design. Whatever the situation, it is time to clear out the old and prepare for the new. Coup, which is decay, has a lot to teach us, however. If you know that decay can set in, you can prepare in advance to avoid it. And avoid it meaning don't need to experience it. Be one with the way. The necessary ingredients are the ability to offset deterioration by ensuring innovation and that constant change is sustained. Meaning, as Jaclyn, the Lady Jaclyn's always talking about, everything you have, everything you need, it's already there. It's in your human design. It's a part of you. Jump in, Jaclyn.
That's so true. What's interesting is that you're speaking about contribution. So we're with the gate, we're at the moment the sun is in the gate 8 and it's all about contribution, right? So it's kind of like that's where the question was, reflecting inward and saying, am I actually contributing? Am I actually fulfilling my purpose? Because ultimately, your purpose is being the highest expression of yourself. And what does that relate to? It relates to how you can be of service, right? So it also, what you were mentioning is stop standing in your own way. Like what I really got from that is like the message was you're standing in your own way by either over processing, getting lost in your mind, and trying to be too much in the future, the present moment, not trusting and bring to the fear. There's a whole lot of messages that are coming through, and they're really big energy and they're bold energy. But I think the most important thing to remember is, I almost want to say like you're at the right, you're at the right place in the right timing that you need are there for you to have for you to have access to. Everything that you need is already there, right? Everything that you desire, you're already going to attain, as long as you really you really connect with your intuition, you really stand in your self-trust, you stand in your self-worth. There is also, because the will center, the heart center is defined, the energy, I don't know if you felt, but there's this control. So it's like trying to take control or learning lessons in control, or feeling controlled. So maybe kind of highlighting and questioning and seeing. So in a business sense, looking at your team and saying how you're managing or how you're empowering and inspiring the team and not just trying to control, right? And if you're, for example, in the team, it's kind of looking at, do you feel controlled? Do you feel like there's a lack of freedom? Do you feel like you can't contribute fully because you can't speak your truth? Asking questions like that, right? And then on a personal front, it's kind of looking at how your money is controlling you, how your career, do you feel in control? Do you feel out of control? Do you feel control? So there's a very big theme of control. Do you notice that, James?
Yes, and it has to do, and look how the word control is an idea, an example, an idea of decay. Because when we're attempting to control, we're not in the flow with the way. We're in our way, as you just said. We're in, and literally I mean that as a double entendre. It's like we're in our way, and we're in our way, meaning the way we want to do something. So we're like the mountain. So we're not the wind. And we need to be the wind, especially in this moment in time. We need to be in the flow with this change, this regeneration, this repairing what's spoiled, all the RE. And it's not, this happens obviously. Mercury goes retrograde 3, sometimes 4 times a year. So it's a common event for us. It's always helpful. However, there's something interesting, auspicious about this moment in time, this Mercury retrograde at the time of the eclipses and so forth, because as you just mentioned, Jaclyn, it's amplified. It's really amplified. It's at the full moon, it's at the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, we're in eclipse season. And it's this whole kind of like, and then here's 18, hexagram 18, talking about repairing what's spoiled. The overall energies being a 2, receptive force, so as to receive. And it's so as to receive something greater, something more. And that's always the case, yes, that is always the case, offering. And yet, it's amplified this time. So I just really want to, I'm trying to add the lady. There we are. The LadyJaclyn is back in.
Yeah.
There she is. So for everyone, and you can see, look at how from the top of the hour, from the top of the show, the LadyJaclyn and I juggling, you all joining us, with the signals, the communication, the messaging, so as to hear, so as to receive. So there's some really powerful, impactful energies occurring. And their entire point is to remedy, to repair, to remedy what's spoiled. So when you're in your way, when you're in your way, when you are controlling, when you are in your mind too much, Maria just mentioned that, and hello to everyone, Brigitte, Maria, Anne, and Ian, Jennifer, everyone, Alicia, everyone joining us, thank you so much for joining us. So when you're in your way,
I like when you say when.
When.
It's not if, it's when.
Isn't it, right? It's not an if. It's a when.
I'm having a giggle because I'm like, oh, was he a fly on the wall this week? Like
it's been quite a doozy, and it's only Wednesday morning my time, so I'm laughing because I'm like, whoa, you want to talk about flow with things. Yesterday was all about, it was a hot mess. Everything turned out beautifully. And yet, it was somebody, they took the apple cart, threw it all up in the air. You didn't know where everything was going to land, what it was going to look like. And multiple things all at one time. And yet by the end of the evening, perfection. Everything worked. The apples came back down in all the right places. And what was required, and I say this with, multiple, as we shared, multiple people, there's a renovation going on here, multiple contractor, tradespeople, everybody just came together. What's needed? Okay, I'll shift. Everybody did it with pleasantry and funniness and joy. And it's because of that. It was because of that choice, that it all turned out beautifully. Everybody's smiling, everyone happy, everyone, even though it was truly a hot mess in the moment, it was a hot mess. And everybody just delivered. And that's the difference. It's your choice. That's going to make the difference. And how do you flow with this energy? Because if any one of them had been abstinent or, fixed, the mountain, it would not have happened. It would have just gone haywire. So there's literal, go ahead.
So it's so interesting because when you also say, when you get in your own way, the thing that comes up really strongly as well is to be kind to yourself, is, not to fall into the pattern of judging yourself when you actually acknowledge, oh, good gracious,
I'm creating the struggle, or I'm creating the frustration, or I'm getting myself stuck in the mud, because the thing is there's a reason for it. So it's coming up for a reason, so you can shift it, because if it wasn't coming up, it didn't need to play a part, and therefore it wasn't actually, of importance for you to actually move and shift. So it's being grateful that you're getting the opportunity, being kind as you go through the experience. And so I know I caught myself a few times the last couple of days where I was like, "Yo, maybe I could have handled that a bit better," or, "Oh my good gracious, did I really get that affected or that triggered?" And instead of judging or falling into that victim, the old patterns, the karmic. I know Bridget is also talking about karmic issues and patterns, and there's a lot of that coming up because the eclipse is here to transform, right? So
Right.
remember, we said last week, it's all about up leveling, it's all about moving to the next level, because the universe wants to give you more. So it's going to feel uncomfortable because you can't stay in your comfort zone and receive what the universe wants to give you, which is actually what your soul's desiring anyway. So ultimately right now is, it's also, as you go through this, allow yourself to go through it, but be kind with yourself. Catch yourself and say, well, thank you, look at how different I am already, because I'm actually giving myself some self-love. There's a lot
Yeah.
of self-worth issues. There's a lot of we mentioned the theme of control. There's the how you place value on yourself. Is it because you're doing, like I understand this so beautifully, is when I feel like I'm actually doing something, contributing, being actively involved, that's kind of when I feel good. And when the universe says, no, no, this is rest time now. No, no, things aren't going to work out as quick as you want them to. No, 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 you need to take a back seat. I'm like, oh, wait, what? Am I good enough? Maybe I need to learn something new. Maybe I need to. Can you see? It's like, so right now, it's checking in with your self-worth. Are you actually standing in your self-worth? Are you acknowledging your value, the value that you have, not because you do, but who you are, right? These are big energies that we're dealing with right now.
Huge. They're huge energies. And really, as you were just speaking, they were really surrender. The message that's coming through is in the most beautiful and impactful and empowering way. And this will speak to Maria's statement about is stuck in her mind a lot, and Brigitte's question, and we'll address it specifically. It's about surrender to this time, to this moment, to this energy. Surrender is the most empowering. It's not about giving yourself, surrender the white flag and, oh, somebody's overcome you and overtaken you, and it's not that kind of surrender. The surrender is I am surrendering to the way. I am surrendering to the moment, the energy, the offering. I'm surrendering to the opportunity, because that's what it is. It's asking us, and some might, the way I'm here, it's forcing us. We are beings of free will. So the choice, our free will, and this is very interesting. There, no mistakes here. We get to choose. Are we cresting the wave? Are we one with the wave? Are we going to be delivered on high? Or is our will choosing to not surrender to the moment and to the opportunity and the offering and so forth? And so as we're going to be stuck, we're trying to control, we're trying to hold on to, we're the mountain, we're immobilized, we don't want it to well, then you're going to have that experience. What's guaranteed is the advance. The advance is guaranteed. It's a fait accompli. It's a done deal. How you experience the advance is your free will and choice. And this again applies whether it's a person, a profession, a business, a government. The advance is guaranteed. It's just how you're going to experience it. So, and I just want to, because the second thing they said today was, where there's a will, there's a way. And so when we align our will with divine will, the way, we flow. we repair what's spoiled. We let go of the control and the agony and the the blocks, because they're self-created. That's, as Jaclyn just said at the top of the hour, these blocks, when we get in our way, okay. And so we have the opportunity to say, okay, well, hang on a second, what's on offer? And yes, it might be uncomfortable and it might be messy and but in the analogy I keep using, because I'm going through a personal renovation here with my family and everything, it's so interesting to see what was. And in a sense, it had become in a state of decay and unprettiness and and so forth. And all of a sudden, it's breathtaking. You're looking at what these tradespeople and the energy and the goodness of it, and it comes, and all of a sudden you step back and you're like, oh my gosh, look, it's never been so beautiful. That's a literal, practical, the Lady Jaclyn, she's always literal, practical example of what's happening energetically for all of us.
And also on a physical level, so you can see with the comments that are coming in. Let's jump into Brigitte's comment quickly. She was like, would you be able to give me some insight right now to help me clear some karmic issues? Woke up Monday and my left side is in pain, obviously experiencing cough, and extreme feelings of overwhelm from the past. So first of all, you're not alone, because I've been experiencing immense amounts of overwhelm. And if anything, right now, what we do know, because it is intensified, because like DearJames has already mentioned, the advancement is inevitable, you're going to feel it in your body, right? Because emotions are going to manifest actual visceral feelings. So having the awareness of, okay, hold on, what is actually happening? So like in your instances, you're coughing. So coughing, throat, immediately what comes up is truth. Are you speaking your truth? Are you living your fullest expression of who you actually are? You can hear my voice is starting to go a little.
I know, I just caught that. I thought it was brilliant. Perfect timing.
Yeah. So it's asking yourself questions like, where do you feel like you aren't speaking up for yourself? Or where do you feel like you aren't speaking your truth or aren't being your highest expression of you, but through an actual, communication, right? So looking into communication. Also, left side as well is masculine, control. The overwhelm, again, is the fear. Your brain, your mind, our minds are designed to keep us safe. So immediately what's coming up, and I know because I've had a very similar experience. I mean, last night I literally slept for 4 hours because I woke up in a state of absolute panic. And I'm like, why am I panicking? There's no reason for me to panic right now. It's literally 1 a.m. in the morning. Are you joking? And it's so true, because you're clearing. So your mind is designed to keep you safe. So what it's going to do, it's going to basically play everything on repeat, on autopilot. So you got to check the story that you keep repeating to yourself. You got to check in with those natural thoughts that come up for you, and you got to see, is it empowering? Are they empowering? What is the root cause behind what I'm thinking about? And can I change the story to be one that's more empowering? When you talk about the past as well, it's bringing, it's such a beautiful example, because Dr. Joe Dispenza, his work is based in this, is knowing that we're literally living in the past. We're creating the pain of the future because of the memories of the past, because we actually don't let them go, because our brains are on autopilot. They're basically repeating itself. So you got to check in with the thoughts, and James already spoke about this, the thoughts that you keep thinking, where you're standing in your own way because you aren't telling a story that's more powerful. So you got to check to see, what are you repeating, what is on autopilot, and how can you reframe that to tell a story that's more empowering, and to basically tell your truth. The truth that the plan is already there for you. Your desires are already there waiting for you. All you're going to do is energetically match up to them.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Align with them. Yes. And look at with Maria, because it tags in with Brigitte and Alicia and Maria. And it's very interesting, because they're saying, Maria's, how do you push the boulder of fear out of the way so we can surrender and open to the way? The key piece is to realize right off the bat, it's not a boulder, it's a little grain of sand. Yeah, I know it feels, so Maria, it's not to minimize. I know what you're saying, that it feels as though it's a boulder. Thus, you've used that word to describe the magnitude of the thought or the fear of moving it out of the way or releasing. Brigitte talking about having these karmic issues. And remember, this is very important. The this lunar eclipse was conjunct, one of the two, this moment of the eclipses is conjunct the south node. And the south node is about the past, what we're releasing. The north node is the future. It's where we're advancing to. So when they're conjunct one or the other, if it's conjunct the north node, it's going to tell us it has something to do with where we're going. If it's conjunct the south node, it's about what we're releasing. So first and foremost, just remember, Maria and Brigitte, it's the idiom, a mountain into a molehill, You want to, right, you want to realize, see whatever it might be, the fear, the worry, the karmic issue that's coming up, as a grain of sand. In the great continuum of life, it's a grain of sand. And thereby, when you bring it down into that visualization, that awareness and understanding, it's not insurmountable. It's not a boulder. It's a grain of sand. Then ask, what's the opportunity in this grain of sand? What is it wanting me to experience, feel, release? Because that grain of sand is meant to empower you. Without the irritant, without that grain of sand in the oyster, there's no pearl. Plain and simple. There must be an irritant, something that gets inside the oyster that creates the reaction that brings about the pearl. And look how treasured pearls are in all of society, in antiquities as well. So there's this opportunity for both of you, Brigitte and Maria, to don't fear the past. Don't fear the thoughts. Don't fear. Fear is your friend. It's energy. Use it as a catalyst, as an opportunity to move forward, to see. Because the thing you're fearing is letting go. Not knowing if I let go of this, what's on the other side? Well, what's on the other side is your opportunity.
So I want to share a beautiful, obviously practical practice that my mom actually shared with me. I've done it a few times, especially when the overwhelm it feels literally like you have to push a boulder. And so what you do is you take a piece of paper and you feel into the fear, right? And you draw on that piece of paper the circle that represents that fear. So the size of the circle will obviously represent your fear. First of all, you'll be surprised that you think the circle is actually bigger than it actually is. And you actually realize, oh wow, that's actually such a small circle, I'm bigger than the circle. But step one, draw the circle that relates to, or that represents the amount of fear. Then you write in that circle every single fear, every single thought that comes up relating to the experience, the decision, the relationship, whatever it is that you're fearing. Write it down, write as many times until you basically cover the circle in just pen, right? Then you cut out the circle and you crumple the circle and you throw the circle away. And honestly, it sounds so simple and ridiculous, but the whole process, your mind realizes, actually, hold on, it puts it in, it's a relative experience, because when you're overwhelmed by the fear, you literally go into that fight or flight mode. Your body can't think logically. It just thinks survival, right? When you're overcome by fear, you're thinking survival. Therefore, you're feeling stuck because you're just trying to survive. You're not just trying to survive in this life. You're thriving, right? You're wanting to thrive. You want to transform. You're wanting to change. So if you feel inspired to, then take on the challenge. It was so incredible because I had a moment, I'll never forget this. I had a moment where I was so overwhelmed, and my mom was like, you've climbed mountains by yourself and you're overwhelmed by this? And I was like, yes. And she's like, okay, draw the circle on the page. Can I just tell you, my circle was probably not even 5 centimeters in diameter, the diameter. And I was thinking, oh my gracious, is that the fear? Are you joking? But I wrote every single thing. So basically what I did is you start writing on top of the words, and then eventually the circle started coloring in. And I cut the circle out and I crumpled it up and I threw it away. It's almost like burning letters, right? Letters to people. When you burn, you do that process of letting go and releasing. And immediately you actually feel oh wow, hold on, what is the truth? Oh wow, actually, hold on. It's not as big as I was making it out to be. The other key as well is it's not about pushing past fear or like trying to push fear away. It's kind of dancing with fear. I always say it's like you got to move through the fear. You got to allow the fear because it's there for wisdom. It's there for a purpose, right? Not only to keep you safe, but in order to transform you. So you kind of want to build this relationship with fear so that it's not about getting it out of your life and never experiencing it again. It's about dancing with it.
Right, it's a best friend. You can literally use fear as a best friend, because positive fear meaning it catapults you. It's nervous energy, it's nervous fear, but it's good fear. It's not, it's transmuting the shadow side of fear, which is it immobilizes us. We're worried. Well, okay, be worried, and yet be worried meaning, and I believe it was, Anna's saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Exactly. Because that's how you learn to harness the energy of fear. You harness it. It's like an untamed, mare or thoroughbred or something, like it's a wild horse. And the more you work, the more trust you build with it, the more you become one with it, you learn how to use the power of that empowerment. And that's really the beauty of fear. It's simply realizing it's not out to destroy you. It's not out to harm you or kill you or do. It's an energy. It's there to help us. And that's, I love it, and it's interesting because it really takes you to your core, to your root. Because it's such a powerful energy. And so, and here we can see decay, repairing what's spoiled, remedying what's spoiled. Fear, if we're using the shadow side of fear, or we're experiencing it, interacting with it that way, we're in a state of decay because we're not really truly harnessing the beauty of its empowerment.
So it's kind of like feel the fear, but trust, and this is where it's like you're standing in your self-worth, because when you know what you're capable of, when you know that you have the support from the universe, from source, when you know that what you desire is already there waiting for you, then it kind of gives you permission to know that actually, hold on, this is part of the human experience. It's dancing with the fear. Because the fear is there to bring up something that needs to be cleared, but also make you stronger in order to step into the next level of, in the journey of receiving what it is that you desire in the first place. So I need to love and leave you guys, beautiful souls. But on that note, because we in South Africa here have load shedding, where amongst everything else, we are literally going to get cut with our electricity, but we roll with the punches. So my final thought is I want to kind of just remind you and give you the invitation to be kind to yourself as you go through the process, and just know that you're not alone. You're not the only ones feeling this. You're not the only ones that are feeling the overwhelm. You're not the only ones at the moment that are really overcome and really are overwhelmed by the fear and the feelings and the actual visceral, like it's fight or flight now. And just know that that's exactly where you're supposed to be. And if you lean into the practices, the routines, the rituals, the people that are around you, the support, you're going to get through this because you're designed to get through this. Okay.
Absolutely. Have a
Hey,
beautiful.
James.
Yes, have a
You're
beautiful.
gonna hold the fort?
Yes, I'm going to continue on. So have a beautiful evening, and we will be back with you next week, of course. So
Yes.
excited.
Thank you, guys.
So as we journey on, let me switch screens here, and because I do want to bring in your questions and expand on them. And Brigitte was speaking to the past lives and everything. So again, South Node, the past, and how it's bringing things up. The physical, our physical body is the most dense part of our being. So there's emotional, physical, astral. There's multiple layers, multiple bodies. So when you look at the chakras of the body, there's 20 plus above us. The physical is the most dense. It's encapsulating the divine into a physical body so as to have a divine experience in the physical. So yes, these things of the past are going to come up. We're going to feel them. Aches, pains, fears, uncomfortableness, these types of things. The beauty of the past is to not be stuck in it. There's that word, because a lot of you are mentioning the word stuck. It's not to be stuck. The South Node represents what we're to release. And so, when we look at past life regressions, past lives, things that we did not transcend in previous lifetimes, we have the opportunity to release them and experience them in the present lifetime. So you can see the theme that's playing out. Again, if it's something that was what I call a bleed through. So if it's a bleed through from a past life, it's karmic, it's South Node, and it means we want to release it. So again, don't worry or allow fear to control your experience. Simply see it as a grain of sand, from this place of divine neutrality. It's here for me. It's not doing something to me. It's not here to harm. It's here to help. And it's for us then to release that. And it's not to buy into, don't label and compartmentalize and so forth, to say, oh, it's this, and so it's a punishment and blah, blah. That's all mental, ego, mind, personality, garbage is the way it's coming to me. When we see that it's there, okay, I said I would transcend it. Okay, let's transcend it. I said I would experience it. Okay, let me experience it. Don't fear the experience. Don't fear the unknown. Convert all of that fear to opportunity. What's on the other side of this? Opportunity, expansion, growth. Yes, it can be uncomfortable. Speaking, I'm in the choir. I'm speaking, from experience. And yet, every single time it happens, when you get to the other side of it, you will look back in hindsight and say, why'd you wait so long? Or wow, that was really empowering. Or wow, I can see the benefits of why I needed this. So again, do your best to not continue to be in your way, because that is this energy. This energy is about releasing the past, releasing what's spoiled. South Node, I keep reiterating that, because the third thing they said to us today was yield to the way. So yield, to be receptive, yield to the way. And then they said the greater way. And so it's the way, it's the highest octave of ourselves. It's there, it's available. We don't have to compete for it. It's not outside of us. It isn't dependent on another. It's solely dependent on ourselves. What are we open to? What are we open to receive? And when we're in our way, release, release, release. Just stop and release and come back to the circle, as the Lady Jaclyn was speaking to, the grain of sand. It's to demonstrate its empowerment because of its opportunity, not its empowerment because of its hold on us. It's not in that vein. And lastly, there's two more things. They said, rise to the occasion and become the way. So there's a beauty, because we already are the way. So now it's about aligning and becoming the way. So rise to the occasion. And then this has been a theme that's been playing out for me for some years now. And it's literally like the clock in Beauty and the Beast. And it strikes midnight. So at some point we strike midnight and the new occurs. We're in the process of it. And yet look what happened. Everything, it appeared as though everything was lost in the movie of Beauty and the Beast, and that the love was not going to happen. He would forever be a beast. All of these things, they would never come back to their human form from their object forms. And they kept saying, tick tock, tick tock. And it's also the clock being swallowed by the alligator. It's another, but you can see this thing about time, a timepiece, and how ultimately in these, both of these analogies, the other one I believe is with Peter Pan, the clock being swallowed by the alligator is Peter Pan. So in both of these movies, the beauty of some Neverland was found and received and experienced, saved, if you will. In Beauty and the Beast, they're renewed, they're reborn, because the love, the purity of the moment prevails. And so that's the beauty in this moment, that's what's on offer, is the beauty, the purity of this moment, of the new, of the advance is here. And again, it's where are you in the receiving of that? Meaning, how do you choose to experience? Are you going to ride the wave at the top? Are you going to crest it and arrive in and be just delivered, boom, onto the shore? Or do you need the rough and tumble seas and the ocean pummeling you? And are you choosing that experience? It's up to you. And I wanted to, Anne had mentioned something that she had made an investment in herself, and in the future for August and so forth, and Mercury retrograde. So want everybody to remember, and specifically to Anne, just remember that somehow it will be different. Something will change about it. It can be enhanced. It can be, the timing might change. Something about it will change, and to be in the flow with that. Because again, Mercury retrograde, eclipse season, South Node, all of these energies taking place. It's not to say that was a wrong choice. That's not the message. The message is allow. So you purchase something contractual, this type of thing, in this moment. Allow it to change. Allow it to unfold in a new or a different way, because we go into something with the expectation of we know what we bought, what we're expecting from it, when it's supposed to happen, yada, yada, yada. And then, because it was done at this moment in time, it changes. Something about it, perhaps the location, perhaps whatever it might be, it will change. As Anne just said, ready for anything. Go with the flow. Here's where the opportunity, because then it opens up and it flows. And I'm going to close with an example yesterday, this renovation example. I'd gone to one store to purchase something that I'd just seen. Well, I had just seen it the day before. Went to a different location, thinking that it was more convenient, easier, closer, all this. They had none. Went to the original location from the day before, only to find bits and pieces, literally cracked, broken pieces of their paver stones. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, wow, really? And then I was like, okay. And then I asked, do you have any more of this? And they said, yeah, it says we do. And long and short of it, 10 minutes later, they literally bring down an entire brand new pallet of this product. Shrink wrapped, beautiful, untouched. They unwrap it and it's like pristine. It's not the broken pieces of the past. It's not the crumbles and the bits and the leftovers. It's a pristine new palette. And we were the first to receive those from this. And so the analogy and the point that this 18, hexagram 18 and hexagram 2, decay, repairing what's spoiled, so as to renew, so as to receive divine mother nourishment, the highest of the high. In that moment, what appeared to be either being not available of the past, broken palette, pieces and crumbles, we were offered upon request choice, a pristine new opportunity, a pristine new palette. And that kept flowing in throughout today's show to share that with you all, because that's what's on offer. This pristine newness, this pristine offering that's new, hadn't been opened, hadn't been touched. That's what's on offer for everyone. So allow the repairing, allow the decay to unfold, because it's there to help you. It's there to unstick you, keep you from being stuck. And the beauty in it is the allowing, the flowing, and the choice. So thank you all so very, very much for being with us today and allowing the communications and all of this to a little muddling and everything. And I hope that the message that we all received is resonating and helping you all. So thank you again. We'll be back next week on Wednesday and Thursday. So for another weekly wisdom and insights on Wednesday and Science and the Soul on Thursday. Until then, be well, be safe, and be gentle with yourselves. Be kind and laugh and flow with everything. It's all going to work out in the wash, as they say. And we couldn't love you more for joining us. So thank you all. We appreciate you.
You've been listening to Dear James Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting DearJames.com.